Network marketing is not an easy business, but there are simple steps that just flat out work. Closing. Maybe you could talk about some of your best advice. People want to close more sales. They want to have a better result when they're following up with their prospects to get that person to pull the trigger, get started, but not feel like they're that typical sleazy, pushy salesperson. So maybe you could talk about that.
I hated the closing process. When the video presentation was over at the end of a meeting, I would get nervous, anxiety, like, oh shit, I got to ask them to join now. The presentation would be over and I'd be like, so what did you think? Which is not a great question. You know, there's two sides of the brain. You have the analytical and logical side, and you have the emotional side. And people make decisions based on emotion way more than they do logic. And so I would recommend don't ask a logical question, ask an emotional question, or at least be emotional. So, you know, if you want someone to be excited, you need to be excited. If you want someone to be committed enough to join, you need to be amazingly committed. So your closing ratio is going to be largely based on your level of commitment and belief. If someone thinks you're just trying it out, if this is like a little like, it's okay, if there's no certainty, conviction, confidence, they're very unlikely to join. And they need to get that. And now how do they get that? You tell them. So I recommend a 3-step setup. So whenever you're sharing your opportunity, whether it's someone you meet on social media, it's a friend, family member, whoever, go through and, hey, number one, share your why. Hey, here's why I decided to do this. Because a lot of salespeople and network marketers are just ramming your opportunity or ramming your product down someone's throat. And it comes across as like, they're immediately skeptical.
Right.
And people love to buy, but they don't like to be sold. And so what happens is when you start with authenticity, you're saying, hey, I appreciate you sitting down with me. As you know, over the last few years, I've had, you know, fairly good success with my company, but we had a major downturn. This happened. It's put me in a lot of debt, and it's forced me to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. And so I've been looking for something else. So you open up, share your why, you be authentic. And by you being authentic, you give them permission to be authentic. You give them permission to put their guard down, because you're not being the cheesy salesperson. You're not ramming your product and service. You're being real. So number two, it's letting them know it's big and you're all in. Say, listen, I'm all in on this. Like, I've never been all in on anything in my life. This is a big, big deal. And then the third thing is it's cool either way. So listen, if you love it, great. If not, that's totally cool. But if there's anyone I'd love to partner up with, it's you. I like to give a compliment at the end. People do business with people they like. How do you get people to like you? You like them. If you think about the people in your life that you like the most, why do you like them? Because they like you. When I like and love someone, they're going to like and love me back more than likely. And they're way more likely to join my team. So that's just kind of a personality, how to win friends and influence people thing. A couple mindset things. Convince yourself you love to close. Like, I genuinely now, I love the closing process. To me, it's a game. I like it. I used to hate it and I was bad at it. You're going to be bad at things you hate. So how do you learn to love something? You program yourself to love it. Stop telling yourself, every time you say something about yourself, you make it more true. So if you say I'm a bad closer, as soon as you say that, it becomes a little bit more true. As soon as you say I'm afraid to ask for the business, it becomes a little bit more true. Okay. So convince yourself that you love to close. The number one reason why people don't join is they're not asked to join.
Eventually you get the hang of it. Eventually it becomes a routine, and you embrace the fear, do it anyway, embrace the suck, because you will suck in the beginning.
The biggest fear out there is the fear of rejection. They say it's the fear of public speaking, but the fear of public speaking is really just the fear of being rejected publicly, right?
True.
So it's getting over the fear of rejection. And how do you get over it? You got to do it. One of the things for me just became, number one, not putting so much pressure on myself to close everyone, realizing that the best in the world might close 1 out of 3. Now, most people are not closing 1 out of 3. They're closing 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10, whatever it is for you. You have to get a lot more no's compared to the yeses. And obviously we get paid on the yeses, but the only way to get to the yeses is to go through the no's. So in essence, we get paid for the no's as well. When you get off the call, you finish the meeting and your mind be like, cha-ching, I just made some money, because that leads me closer to a yes, because the only way to get a yes is to go through a bunch of no's.
No is just the beginning.
A teaching point is be cool with your
Right.
people. Because they said no to you doesn't mean they don't like you, doesn't mean they think you're stupid, doesn't mean they think you're in a pyramid. They just said no. So be cool, because you can get them later. But if you're not cool and you're like, well, just stick with your job, your pyramid scheme at work, you're like, they're never going to join you. So be cool. The goal of presentation should be to strengthen the relationship that you have with your friend, whether they join or not. So if they don't join, the end result is you strengthened the connection with the person that you just presented to. Right. So if it's not for them, you're thinking that, hey, it means the world. Would you mind if I just kept you updated on what I'm doing? Would you mind if I just kept you updated on what I'm doing? And they're going to almost always say yes. And so you can drip on them later. Timing can be different. Our job as networkers, same job as that we have as leaders, it's to be a coach. It's to take someone from where they are to where they want to be. Our job is to help people, is to do what's in their best interest, not our best interest. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, and you should know beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you sponsor someone, if they join your company, if they're coachable, if they're teachable, if they'll follow the system, and if they'll not quit, they can change their life forever. Your opportunity is a life raft. It's a lifesaver. And there are people drowning everywhere, and they need the lifesaver. So you throw them the lifesaver and they won't take it. And you're like, take the lifesaver, take the lifesaver. Why won't you take the lifesaver? You need this. You're struggling. Take the lifesaver. And while you're trying to convince someone who's never going to take the lifesaver to take the lifesaver, there's people everywhere drowning that will take the lifesaver if you'll offer it. So take the lifesaver, pull it back from the person who doesn't want it, and start giving it to the people who do, and realize that you are the blessing and your opportunity is the blessing. And I think you can influence the world.
At the end of the day, you want to help those people win. And that's why we're partnering up with people. We're not just enrolling someone. We're starting a new team. We're starting a new business relationship. And our goal is to help them go out there and create the success they desire. Matt, congrats on all your success, man. Keep it up. All right, bye, everybody.